The Nightly Business Report.
Good evening. Tonight, the governor of the central bank says the country's economy is experiencing a stabilization and they are targeting a long-term sustainable stability. Sri Lankan government signs an agreement with Adani Green Energy of India to build 2 wind power plants in the country's north. Payments to be done in Sri Lankan rupees. The stock market records the second consecutive day in the red. And Wall Street indices ended higher for the third straight session. Is there a greater chance of the Federal Reserve cutting interest rates this year?
From Studio 24, here's Sina Mayadune.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. The Governor of Central Bank of Sri Lanka, Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe, stated that the macroeconomy of the country has moved into a stable position as a result of the policies carried out by the government and the central bank. He stated this at a central bank press conference held today.
විශේෂයෙන් කියන්න අවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේ පළවෙනි කාරණය අපේ වාර්ෂික ආර්ථික විවරණයෙන් පෙන්වුම් කරන ආකාරයේ ප්‍රධාන පණිවිඩය අපි
According to our annual report, we need to emphasize the citizens that the country's economy is experiencing a macroeconomic stabilization due to the policies implemented by the government and the central bank. It's crucial to ensure that this short-term achievement translates into a long-term sustainable stability. This time, we've chosen sustainable stability as our theme to underscore the importance of maintaining economic relief for citizens in a sustainable manner. Our key message is that policies initiated by the government and the central bank need to continue in the same direction to sustain this achievement. Our goals include improving economic growth, reducing inflation, stabilizing banking systems, increasing citizens' profits, reducing poverty, and maintaining this positive trend.
The Central Bank of Sri Lanka says Sri Lanka's official reserve assets have recorded an increase of 9.6% in the month of April this year. Accordingly, the official reserve assets have reached USD 5.43 billion in April this year. This includes proceeds from People's Bank of China swap equivalent to USD 1.4 billion, which is subject to conditionalities on usability according to the CBSL. Adani Green Energy Limited has signed an agreement with the Sri Lankan government for the development of wind power stations in Mannar and Punarin. A government statement said that Sri Lanka will purchase power from wind plants built by Adani Green Energy Limited of India at 8.26 US cents a kilowatt hour.
The cabinet had approved the price after agreement was reached by a cabinet-appointed negotiations committee. The negotiated tariff rate of 8.26 US cents per kilowatt is to be paid in Sri Lankan rupees on the prevailing exchange rate at the time of payment. On the current exchange rate considered as $1 is equal to 300 rupees, the cost of energy will be 24 rupees and 78 cents per kilowatt. The current average cost of energy in Sri Lanka is 39 rupees and 02 cents per kilowatt. Adani Green Energy, the renewable energy unit of Adani Group, led by billionaire Gautam Adani, won the approval in February last year to invest $442 million and develop the 484 megawatts wind power plants in Mannar town and Punarin village, both located in the northern province of Sri Lanka. The contract will be valid for 20 years.
Minister of Public Security Derana said that a 5-member Singapore's Immigration and Checkpoints Authority team will be in Sri Lanka from the 27th of May to assess the island nation's immigration counters with an aim to modernize in par with Singapore.
The move comes amid repeated complaints on overcrowded immigration desks at the main Bandar Naika International Airport. The ICA is responsible for securing Singapore's borders against the entry of undesirable people and cargo through land, air and sea checkpoints. It also administers immigration and registration services such as issuing passports and identity cards to Singapore citizens and immigration passes and permits to foreigners. The minister said that he had asked Singapore government to study our airport and immigration to modernize them to the standards of Singapore and to give a report on it. A 5-member ICA team will study the existing Sri Lankan system and they will then be providing a comprehensive report.
We'll go for a short commercial break now. This is the Nightly Business Report. the Nightly Business Report. Let's take you to the Colombo Stock Exchange and get you the latest market data. The negative trend continues as both the indices at the Colombo Stock Exchange recorded lows for the second consecutive day of the week. For the data breakdown, let's go to Nagusan Balachandran from Capital Alliance Securities standing by.
Today, the Colombo Stock Exchange concluded on a slightly downward note with the ASPI decreasing by 1 point from yesterday's session to end at 12,375 points with a turnover of 2 billion rupees. The SL20 index also experienced a slight downturn of 8 points to end the day at 3,640 points. Notable institutional engagement was observed across various sectors, with the majority of the turnover contributed by John Keys Holdings, Brown's Investments, Sunshine Holdings and Royal Ceramics Lanka. The top gainers for the day were Industrial Asphalt, Lanka Realty Investments, Myland Developments, East West Property and Hela Apparel. While the top 5 losers for the day were Blue Diamonds, Chemenex, UB Finance, Bonsai Resorts and CT Land. Foreign activity saw buying worth 69 million while selling amounted to 114 million.
How did the bond market and its rates perform in the recent days? Let's go to Zaima Jihad from First Capital Holdings, who has the insights.
If we look at the secondary market yield curve, on a year-to-date basis, yield rates have plunged by 180 basis points to 470 basis points across the board. Accordingly, bills have shown the biggest drop as they hover below 10%, with the 1-year T-bill currently recording at 9.8% compared to 13.5% recorded during the beginning of the year. On the bond side, mid to long tenors are currently hovering around 10.5% to 12.5% levels, falling broadly in line with our expectations for the first half of 2024. Recent policy rate cut of 50 basis points in March, the decline in inflation and the improvement in reserves are some key catalysts that has supported this downtrend in the secondary market. After a prolonged period of dull sentiment, during the last week, we have seen a surge in investor interest in the secondary market as buying appetite picked up sharply, mainly due to the positive expectations on the EDR discussions. Accordingly, activities were mostly centered on the short to mid-term liquid maturities such as the 2026, 2027 and the 2028 maturities, which declined by 30 to 40 basis points over the week. Additionally, bills showed a decline of 17 to 25 basis points during this period. We believe that the yield curve has gradually begun to bottom out, hence there is limited upside on expected capital gains. However, in the period ahead, any delay on the IMF third tranche and upcoming elections might pose some risk to the bond market, which may slightly cause rates to spike in the second half of 2024.
Gold prices fell slightly in Asian trade on Tuesday, having taken limited support from increased unrest in the Middle East, while focus also remained on potential interest rate cuts by the Federal Reserve. Spot gold fell 0.1% to $2,322.65 an ounce, while gold futures expiring in June steadied at $2,330.95 an ounce. U.S. gold futures were flat at $2,328.40. Compared to last week, the price of gold is down by 0.91% and it's up 2.20% from a month ago. Gold was also supported by increased speculation over U.S. interest rate cuts following weaker than expected non-farm payrolls data on Friday, which caused steep losses in the dollar. Oil prices rose today amid ongoing ceasefire negotiations in Gaza and Israel military's assault on the Palestinian side of the Rafah border crossing. International benchmark Brent crude traded at $83.42 per barrel, at recording an increase of 1.32% from the closing price of $82.33 per barrel in the previous trading session. American benchmark West Texas Intermediate traded at $78.55 per barrel. At the same time, a 0.09% rise from the previous session that closed at $78.48 per barrel. Oil prices surged with heightened geopolitical tensions due to the Israel military assault on the Palestinian side of the Rafah border crossing. The Sri Lankan rupee has depreciated against the US dollar today compared to yesterday, according to the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. Accordingly, the buying rate of the US dollar has increased from 292 rupees and 7 cents to 293 rupees and 85 cents, while the selling rate has also increased from 302 rupees and 30 cents to 303 rupees and 1 cent. The rupee has depreciated against a basket of foreign currencies, including Gulf currencies. Let's take a look. Let's go for a short commercial break now. This is an Adani Business Report. Welcome back to the Nightly Business Report. WSO2, the leader in digital transformation technology, announced that it has signed a definitive agreement to be acquired by EQ2. Dr. Sanjeeva Veeravarana, CEO and founder of WSO2, said that they are thrilled to partner with EQT as they embark on the next phase of WSO2's journey.
Looking ahead, WS2 remains focused on driving customer success, fostering community collaboration, and delivering innovative software that unlocks new value-creating opportunities for organizations worldwide, added Veeravarana. The CEO also added that with EQT's support and expertise, they are well positioned to accelerate the innovation agenda, expand the global footprint, and continue empowering enterprises to thrive in the digital economy. Hari Gopalakrishnan, partner in the EQT Private Capital Asia Advisory Team, said that they are excited to partner with WSO2 as it helps customers across industries drive their digital transformation and enhance operational resilience. EQT is a purpose-driven global investment organization with 242 billion euros in total assets under management and the third largest private equity firm globally.
As a member of the One World Global Airline Alliance, Sri Lankan Airlines had the privilege of hosting the 2024 One World Business Resilience and Safety Best Practice Group meeting in Colombo.
Members of the One World Alliance convene biannually in the home base of a chosen member airline, and this time Sri Lanka was bestowed the honour of being the host country. With representatives from 11 member airlines in attendance, the meeting provided a valuable platform for exchanging insights and discussing industry-leading practices on aviation safety and resilience. Amidst the productive sessions, delegates also seized the opportunity to explore and discover the vibrant sights of Colombo during their visit.
People's Insurance plc is pleased to announce the appointment of Mr. Dennis Hevagama as Chief Sales Officer. With an MBA in Business Administration from the University of Bedfordshire, UK, Mr. Hevagama brings over 32 years of extensive and diversified experience in the general insurance industry. Under his guidance, Alliance Insurance Lanka Limited Sri Lanka witnessed exponential growth, elevating the company's position to the top rankings in the industry. He played a crucial role in the setup and operational streamlining of Adani Insurance Bangladesh, serving as the Senior Vice President and General Manager. Samsung Electronics reported financial results for the first quarter ended 31st March this year. The company posted 71.92 trillion Korean won in consolidated revenue on the back of strong sales of flagship Galaxy S24 smartphones and higher prices for memory semiconductors. Operating profit increased to 6.61 trillion Korean won as the memory business returned to profit by addressing demand for high-value added products. The weakness of the Korean won against the major currencies resulted in a positive impact on company-wide operating profit of about 0.3 trillion Korean won compared to the previous quarter. Moving on to a short break now, this is the Nightly Business Report. Welcome back to the Nightly Business Report. Most Asian stocks rose today amid persistent optimism over the eventual decline in U.S. interest rates, with indices in Japan and South Korea blazing past their peers in catch-up trade. Nikkei Kospi surge in catch-up trade. Japan's Nikkei 225 and South Korea's Kospi were the best performers in Asia today, rising 1.2% and 1.9% respectively. Broader Asian markets were muted. A rebound in Chinese shares appeared to be running out of steam, with the Shanghai Shenzhen CSI 300 and Shanghai Composite marking small moves after racing to 5-month peaks in April. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index fell 0.4% after rising for 10 consecutive sessions, which also saw the index enter a bull market from February lows. U.S. stock indices closed higher yesterday, their third straight session of advances, as investors continued to gain hope that there was a greater chance of Federal Reserve cutting interest rates this year.
U.S. stock indexes ended higher on Monday, gaining for a third straight session amid investor hopes the Federal Reserve could cut interest rates this year. The Dow climbed 0.5%, the S&P 500 rose 1%, and the Nasdaq added 1.2%. Data on Friday showed U.S. job growth slowed more than expected in April, potentially taking some pressure off the U.S. central bank to keep rates higher for longer. Plus, corporate earnings in the first quarter have so far come in stronger than forecast, and equity investors see positive momentum in recent sessions. Technology stocks continue to be a bright spot, led by the mega-cap firms like Google parent Alphabet and Meta in the so-called Magnificent Seven. Stocks on the move included Paramount Global, which gained 3% after the media company ended its exclusive negotiations with Skydance Media without a deal, allowing the special committee to entertain other offers from rival bidders. And Tyson Foods, which dropped close to 6% after the meatpacker surpassed Wall Street expectations for second quarter profit, but warned that consumers are being cautious about their spending because of higher prices.
Well, that's it for today from all of us at the Nightly Business Report. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again tomorrow. I'm Sina Mayadune. Have a good night.